for
our thing. Let's go ahead and go to our next call here. I want to get to Stan calling in from Pennsylvania. What's going on, Stan?
Hey, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm here with Phil. We're chilling in the studio. It's a Friday night, and I'm having a good time. How about you?
I'm all right. How are you, Phil?
I'm doing fantastic, or better than I deserve if I'm going to steal from Dave Ramsey.
Better than I deserve. Funny.
So what I wanted to talk about.
There it is, folks. Sorry, I just got to interrupt. Moon Towers. Doesn't that kind of look? Imagine that at night.
That's trippy.
Wouldn't that kind of look like a UFO?
Yeah,
anyway, so that's
Stan, talk to us.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it looks cool. What I wanted to talk to you about actually relates to the coronavirus. And it's our response. The president put Vice President Pence in charge.
That's correct.
Of the response to this. And I think it's disturbing that a Christian nationalist who does not believe in science is the one who's now in charge of a response to a dangerous virus threatening our nation.
And Stan, are you aware of Mr. Pence's success with AIDS in Indiana?
I am very much aware, and that he didn't have any success.
He did not. He did not.
And also, this particular administration has actually cut back funding from the CDC in the past couple of years. So just some things to think of. Those are just facts. Just facts.
So Stan, if you're calling to say that you're concerned, I'm fucking crazy concerned because of the incompetence of this administration. These opinions do not reflect the opinions of the ACA.
They do not.
Yeah, yes, and I agree. ACA doesn't make any of those opinions, but I think it plays into a wider trend. I mean, you have a person in charge of a serious situation who doesn't actually believe in science,
right?
And that obviously will affect the decisions that they'll make, right?
You're right.
And then you look at in other situations, for instance, global warming, like we know that there is a large movement of people who are saying, it's kind of okay that we pollute the planet, like God has given it to us and he will either take care of it or we'll just be raptured away, right? And so we don't have to, it doesn't matter, Yeah,
I think that's just an excuse for businesses to exploit natural resources. Like, that's kind of what it seems to be. It's like, oh, God gave us, the right to dominion over the earth so we can kind of do whatever the hell we want and just kind of screw it all up. So, yeah, it's kind of unfortunate.
So, Stan, you got a solution for us?
Well, I mean...
less religion, maybe?
Secular nation, yeah. And, actually, but it's actually a serious point.
Yeah.
And that this so far... we don't have any candidates who really touched on that. We don't have a political environment that allows for candidates, at least on the presidential level, to say, I'm going to handle a crisis with a secular mind, with a purely rational mind. Like, you could get around it by saying, evidence-based and, I am pro-science, you'll say something like that. But you can't have a person to specifically reject, religious thinking, or just even call out our current administration for that kind of thinking,
Yeah.
So
it's a death sentence saying you're an atheist in this country.
Political
election.
Well, look, and unfortunately, because we have religious people in charge, it might be a death sentence in reality for people.
And so when I was a kid, I remember in 3rd or 4th grade, it was one of those election things where people were voted most whatever for the class and everybody got something. I was voted most likely to be president. That was my thing. But now I realize, shit, because I do this show and
it's not gonna happen.
Never going to fucking fly because...
But you could still be most likely. It's just not likely.
Right, yeah. Well, it's just being honest about your religious opinions in this country can get you into some big trouble, which is why people make these kind of broad, general statements, and they don't I think when Obama was president, he didn't really talk a whole lot about religion because I don't think he was very religious by some accounts. I guess he did go to church and stuff, and I don't know how much his faith influenced his
I think he was
politics,
quite religious, but again, like I said, if people were just religious and had their own personal thing, but respected science and the rights and liberties of everyone else around them.
Yeah, well, regardless, during his administration, he never made the point of saying, I'm doing this because I think this is what's best for
Yeah, you're probably right.
Christianity, or God's telling me this or whatever. Certainly not saying he's the chosen one or anything like that. But, you know, there are people who take advantage of religious bases in this country. And that's just the fact. Like, and it doesn't happen as much in other countries, as far as my understanding, because a lot of other, especially European countries, aren't secular, so it's not a big deal.
Those
right?
countries, yeah. But
Yeah. So
anyway,
I don't know what the solution is to, you know.
what else you got, Stan?
But well, even in those countries, in those European countries, I mean, like it's currently so many of them are very secular, but like they do have other parties and
Yes.
Yeah,
that may
that's
not be
true.
in power, but are pushing. So like it's all around, you know.
Yeah.
And it's incredible how and what directions, like if these types of people are in charge, right, without any restrictions, like the things that they'll do. Because I was reading an article the other day on witchcraft, right, on the rise of witchcraft in the U.S. Right?
Yes.
And they mentioned that, like, I believe it was Saudi Arabia, like, actually has an anti-witchcraft, like, police division, right? Like, who will use science to combat witchcraft, which means arresting women, right? And doing terrible things to them.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I was talking to someone earlier about how Islam is so much worse than Christianity was their position, and I said today, Christianity in a lot of modern societies has been domesticated. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not typically burning witches, but in some countries around the world, they are killing people that don't fit the religious model. And unbridled Christianity is the same as unbridled Islam, and they're both very, very dangerous. And we have to figure a way to get past this shit.
Yeah. And like, it's interesting you bring up the rise of witches, because I think, you know, there's people that are thinking that we're becoming more secular as a country, which is
I think we are.
true, but it also, like, you know, when Christianity, there's not as many people going to churches, it also means they're just going to other things.
Yeah,
And,
crystals.
like, I think witchcraft is definitely one of those things.
Jade
along with
eggs.
the crystals, jade eggs, yeah. If you've seen that Goop documentary stuff on Netflix, you know, you know what I'm talking about. It's like alternative beliefs are becoming more of the norm. Alternative medicine has super dramatically risen. There's a Time piece about it that kind of goes into more detail about how much money these alternative medicine stuff makes, because people are just kind of flocking to it. And it's like, you know, not believing in Christianity is not what I want. I want people to just think for themselves and critically evaluate everything. Like, because if you're going to believe some other bullshit, like, then what's the point? You know?
Critical thinking is the key. Great. Well, Stan, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for calling in, Stan. Appreciate the call, and looking forward to hearing from you again soon. So, yeah, I don't have any worldwide solutions for stuff like that.
It's a tough one.
unfortunately.
Those humans.
If I did, I'd probably would bank off it, because that could
Well, if
be
you had
something-
good ideas, really good ideas to change and fix the world, they'd probably lock you up.
Oh man, that's really sad, but
Yeah.